Well, hi guys, this is Reverend Sean over at the Centered Path, and today we're going to go over something interesting that I found in a Buddhist temple. So, in my temple, which is the Rosemead Buddhist Monastery, or the Los Angeles Buddhist Union, or the main temple, which was the Mystic Dharma Temple, there was a giant statue like this. It was all gold and gilded and in a giant case. And I was wondering, like, usually you see just pictures or icons of the Buddha himself, either the Shakyamuni Buddha, that original, or Amitabha Buddha, or sometimes Kuan Yin Pasa, or maybe Chittagarbha, right? And so these are different icons that we see in Buddhism. This is clearly not Buddhist. Or is it? Actually, it kind of is, and here's why. Have you heard of the Brahma? The Brahma in Hinduism is one of the creator gods, right? In Buddhism, he's called Mahabrahma. Brahma also means to be, right, or to create, right? And then in Thailand, where this one is from, and you see them in Thai temples as well, Thai Buddhist temples have this Hindu icon in it. It's called Phra Brahm, like Brahm, like Brahmin, right? He's also what's called a Dhammapala. A Dhammapala means a protector of the Dharma. So in the Buddhist time, when he was explaining things to people in his area, they had what we call the Brahmin. The Brahmins were a class of people that could be priests, and no one else could be priests. You had to be a Brahmin to be a priest, and a Kshatriya to be a warrior, and all this kind of stuff. And the Buddha was part of the Kshatriya caste, which is a warrior caste, right? So he didn't want to be a warrior. He went off and became a sage. So he would use often the teachings of Brahma to explain what was going on. And we have what's called the four Brahma Viharas, which I'll go through later. And I just want to go through this statue a little bit. Now, this one is not Hindu. Differences in Hindu Brahma versus this one is 4 arms versus 8. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Also, he's sitting on a throne. This is a lotus throne. Usually he's considered or called the lotus born, right? And so he's sitting on a lotus in the Hindu version, but in here he's sitting on a lotus throne. So he's like a high seat here, 1 foot down for comfort, right? And this is also to be grounded, etc. Each one of these hands has a different item in there, or they have a different aspect of what they're trying to explain. And I'll go over that in detail in other ones. I'm just trying to like go over why and how this ended up in Buddhist temples. Now, in our temple, or my temple, I guess you'd call it, whatever it is a Mahayana and Theravada temple. Mahayana being the greater vehicle, right, which includes Chinese and Zen and Chan and stuff like that, and even Vajrayana. Vajrayana, you're liable to see something similar to this as well. Some of the Mahakalas or the Dhammapalas that they have will also be the same, but this one is pretty unique. Interestingly, it has 4 faces, 1, 2, and there's one on the back, which I'll see if I can turn this guy around and show you each of the faces as we turn. And that's just so he can see all directions, right? He's all seeing and sees in all directions. One of the other things we see on this one too is he's got a different kind of crown, different kind of thing here. This is a very Thai, typical Thai looking icon or whatever, a crown. Now this one, I don't know how old it is. It was at the temple for probably, it's probably at least 50 years old. I would assume 50 years old, somewhere in there. Maybe it could be a lot older than that. I don't know. But what was happening was at the temple, they were refurbishing and moving some things around. And this ended up at another temple, and then ended up at another house temple, and then ended up in my possession. So here I am trying to take care of it and make sure that people understand a little bit more. That's all I'm trying to do. You can also see here he's got the cuffs around his ankles, right? And he's wearing pants, which is much different than you see in Hindu or Chinese or anything like that. So these different kind of pants which are very ornate. Over on this side, he's got there's a blessing string actually goes around him and through here. He's got his 8 hands, and each one is holding a different thing. Now, if you look up, you only find really like 4 or 5 things that he's holding. But he's holding in this hand, this is a lotus, because he's the lotus born, and lotus comes of purity and comes from mud and all of those kind of concepts. We'll go over that at a different time. Over here, he's holding 1 bead. Usually he holds many beads, like as in a mala, but here he's only holding 1 bead because that's the present moment. A mala is to tell time. Now down here, this one is on his chest in like a calming or like a more peaceful mudra. This is a hard mudra. You're not going to find it around. It's hard to find, but it's like a heartfelt. Think of it that way, right? Down here, this is a pot of water. This one here, because water has all potential, and it's also something that we're working on cleaning, right? We're cleansing the water. That's one of our offerings that we use to the Buddha or the Brahma, whatever. Over here, this is actually, it's kind of a mirror, but it's more of a scepter, right? It's a scepter for kind of used in sacrifice. Okay, so it has to do with sacrifice and offerings. So it's a kind of a scepter that has to do with that. This here's a little book. It's not a cell phone. It's actually a little book, and that has scriptures in it. So the scriptures are available through the Brahma as well. And over here's a conch, and the conch is a kind of horn. You know, you can blow it and burp and spread that information far and wide. That's what that's for. And this here, this mudra, which is like this, is a teaching mudra. It's a like this is a calming mudra and this is a teaching mudra. So here he's doing a teaching mudra for this one. And there we go. That's the Brahma from a Buddhist temple. You're going to see these in Buddhist temples in some places. You got to keep your eyes open and keep your eyes open and look. And a lot of them do have more mystical stuff. Now they use it, this is a teaching icon. It isn't a worship icon necessarily. You can leave offerings at it and all that kind of stuff. But generally it's a teaching icon. We use it to teach things like the four Brahma Viharas. Or the four Brahma Viharas real quickly are what? Metta, which is loving kindness. Karuna, which is compassion. Upeska, which is equanimity, and mudita, right, which is sympathetic joy, being happy for others. Those are really good concepts to develop, and we want to develop those as part of our practice in everyday life. And this is just the icon that helps us explain that. That's what it is. So anyway, this is Reverend Sean over this center path. I'm going to do more like this because I have a lot of weird icons and a lot of weird tools and things of monks and ministers, priests like me, and things we use for either ceremony and things we use for um, not worship, but like really it's a teaching icon. It's a teaching thing. And I have plenty of those and I'm going to go over those more and more. So like if you like and subscribe if you like. And if you want to see anything specific, let me know. Okay. And I'll get to it and I'll get working on those. So anyway, thanks again. Have a good one. Be good. Let's use this. I'll post something more about it on my blog as well. This has a kind of an interesting history to it as well. Okay. And I want you to take care of yourself and have a good day. Bye.